American Express Open Business Cards from American Express can help cover the big purchases you need to make when you need to make them. Find out how American Express Open Cards and Services can help prepare you for growth at open.com.
This is Larry Culpepper. I love college football so much that I went ahead and came up with the idea of the playoff for it. And the only way I can get ready for each and every Saturday of college football is by listening to the Championship Drive podcast.
This is Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
How in the world is it that Cam Newton has a phone conversation with Roger Goodell? How does Cam Newton not get those flags again this week?
I'm just happy we won the football game.
Fans were chanting, "We want Goff" yesterday.
Golf. Could it be that Goff is just not ready in their eyes?
I guess in their eyes, I guess it's possible. In their eyes.
Tell us the story of the time you were juked by the Galloping Ghost Red Grange when he cut left and they went back right on you. And
I'd rather tell the story of you not finishing the show today.
Now, here's Mike and Mike.
That was great fun earlier this morning where Mike and Mike were presented by Progressive Insurance, our guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. That last little exchange with Louis Riddick in our studio, that last exchange, Louis, it began because we showed some old footage of Golic making an interception and being tackled by Troy Aikman after Jordan Phillips, a defensive tackle even bigger than Golic was.
Unbelievable. 335-pounder.
He hurdled somebody, right?
Somebody.
He hurdled a wide receiver.
Yeah, he did.
Golic got his legs taken out by an unathletic quarterback.
He did.
But Tom Waddle pointed out that the footage that we have of Golic making this play was grainy.
It used to be gross now. Quite honestly,
yeah.
I look at some of the TV. Some of the TV copies of some of the games back in the day, like the graphics, everything is just
horrible.
Bad.
Yeah.
Our uniforms were bad. The pads were too big.
It couldn't hide the fact that I got cut down by Aikman, though.
But it did get one to wondering if you watched all that old grainy footage of Golic, back in the day playing it.
What year was that?
Asking about. Well, I mean, were you
90?
Greeny was 1936.
Was that the same year that you were?
I think it was early 90s.
Was it? Yeah, okay.
Early 90s, right in there.
Were you trucked by Marion Motley at one point in those games there? Did you, when you intercepted Sid Luckman, did he take you out at the legs?
This wasn't funny the first time.
It was funny.
No.
Everyone liked it. I'm being egged on to continue doing it.
Was that Brooksy? I'll get Brooksy.
Yeah. Did you take out Don Hudson when he was coming across the middle?
We played against, I can say I played against Steve DeBerg. How about that name?
Well, but he played 30
that
years.
name up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. He was about 50 when we played him.
Yeah. He spanned
and he
all
was
those
ripping
eras.
us, too.
He began his career playing for Curly Lambeau. Mike and Mike and Louis Riddick in our studio. Just by the way, because my cardigan is awesome. And I'm getting.
You're the only one who
have you got
said
some
that.
positive tweets too?
Yes,
okay.
I just put a picture for those of you who want to see the cardigan.
God.
I'm telling you right now, I'm bringing this in. The cardigan.
You put a picture on social media?
Yes.
Wow, that's a first.
This is what I do. This is what I live to do. I got a picture of the cardigan on Instagram. You will see just how awesome the cardigan is.
Okay. I can't wait to see some of the responses.
Let's have some fun with the responses. Yes. As my friend Dominic Foxworth said, I'm not wearing a cardigan. I'm rocking a cardigan.
He rocks it. You are wearing it.
I rock it like a hurricane. Okay, let me give you a couple of stats.
Greeny's feeling it this morning, folks.
Couple of stats. I am feeling good. Couple of stats on Matt Prater, first of all.
How about this?
Matt Prater, the numbers on Prater are ridiculous. He has had 23 kicks in fourth quarter or overtime situations in his career to win or tie. 23 of them. Do you know how many of them he's made? 23.
Yeah.
He has never missed an opportunity to win or tie in overtime. His 58-yard field goal yesterday to tie was the second longest game-tying field goal in the final minute in NFL history. He also has the longest, which was a 59-yarder against Chicago in 2011.
And as far as game-winning, that's game-winning or tying. As far as game-winning, we mentioned all 9 times they trailed in the fourth quarter and 5 they won. The first 3 of those were on Prater field goals, 43-yard, 29-yard, or 34-yard against the Colts, Eagles, and Rams. So you want to talk about money when you need to be money. Very impressive.
And then there's Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. So sometimes I think we overlook or we look too closely or parse words a little bit too closely. So after the Packers played a lethargic game yesterday at home, Mike, you and I both had the same idea because we both took Aaron Rodgers as our quarterbacks on DraftKings.
I thought we were in for a 40-point game.
Against a bad defense in Indianapolis and playing at home and a team that in Green Bay that clearly needs to just sort of get a little jump start and get a little momentum. This felt to me anyway, and I know it obviously did to you as well, like the day that Rodgers and company would get it going. And the Colts hit them right between the eyes immediately. They run back the opening kick for a touchdown. And Green Bay just never, even though they scored some points late to make it close, they sort of never got it going yesterday. And then after the game, Aaron Rodgers had some comments. You be the judge on whether we're taking this too seriously or not. Here's Rodgers about the feeling on the sideline for him and his teammates throughout that game.
I have no idea. I don't understand it. I mean, this is what we get paid to do, is to bring it every week. And I hope the guys would say that I bring it every week. I mean, I love this game, and I bring the energy. I'm not a rah-rah guy, but I'm a focused, enthusiastic player, and I don't know what the lack of juice was. I mean, you kind of felt it over the entire sideline. We didn't have the same kind of enthusiasm and encouragement that we had the previous 2 weeks. So we got to look deep in the mirror there, because that's just not acceptable.
You know, that's from the side of an intangible. Lewis, I'm having a hard time. We're supposed to do this for a living because we played the game, is analyze what's going on. I'm having a hard time figuring out why they're not what they were, or at least close to it. I mean, it's not like we keep saying, well, they don't have a running game. Well, it's not like they always had an ungodly running game. They had Aaron Rodgers humping the ball all over the place. And it's not like they always had a great offensive line. So you can't just say, well, the offensive line maybe. I mean, and it's not like they've always had a great defense as well, but they would always find a way to win, and it's just not happening now. And then to throw in the intangible of basically being lethargic on the sideline when a team like the Colts, who is not a good team at all, comes into your house and beats you. Yeah,
there's something that has become very stale, static, and just kind of like there's been like there's a cloud over this organization, over this football team, I should say, because I don't know what's going on with the organization, you know, at the highest levels here. I'm just saying there's a cloud over this, and you could see it right there in Aaron's body language when he's talking about it. That right now something is just not resonating as far as their fire and their approach to the football game from an intangible standpoint, meaning something you just can't measure. There's something going on there. On the football field, they don't have a running game.
Nope.
They can't trust Eddie Lacy. James Starks is not available. I mean, they're coming out having – and every play now offensively, every play is in the passing game never seems to go off on schedule. Everything is a broken play. Everything is an ad-lib play for Aaron. And from a schematic standpoint, from an X and O standpoint, if they don't have Greg Jennings and Donald Driver anymore. Those guys just aren't there. They don't have those guys. Jermichael Finley's not there anymore. So now when you don't have those kind of elite players – who can win no matter if the defense knows what's coming or not, it's all on Aaron. I mean, they're having to kind of make it up as they go along, and there just does not seem to be a whole lot of creativity with this offense right now. There just isn't. And they're missing a lot of people right now. The defense is missing a lot of people. The secondary has just been decimated. Their top three corners aren't there. Clay Matthews isn't there. It's not the same football team that we're used to seeing, and this team definitely looks different. It definitely looks different. And this is the kind of thing that as it gains momentum, and if they keep losing football games and Aaron keeps sounding like this is what leads to change.
Yep,
and sometimes it's just necessary, even for the mighty Green Bay Packers, which are one of the bedrocks of the NFL as far as stability between GM and head coach. I would not be surprised. I'm never surprised by anything that happens into the league. But how they're looking and how they looked yesterday and how Aaron sounded in that press conference, and you've heard some of these things. You've heard these kind of rumblings coming out of there. I would not be shocked to see something change there this offseason.
You know, it's confusing. I want to ask you a question about that. A quick reminder, by the way, we have the winning word coming up here shortly. You want to make sure you're with us in 12 minutes. We're going to give you the word. We're going to give you the ways to enter. You could win a trip with us to the College Football National Championship game. Also a reminder, you can listen to any and all 4 hours of Mike and Mike on demand in the ESPN app. You can also subscribe to the Best of Mike and Mike podcast. It's all available on the Listen tab of the ESPN app. Here's what's difficult for people like me. I don't have the advanced, I don't have a master's in football like you guys do. So I watch and I see the same guys that I've seen put up pinball machine numbers on that offense. It's the same coach. It's the same quarterback. It's mostly the same receivers. They've always struggled on the offensive line. And we always talked about how Aaron was sort of overcoming deficiencies in the offensive line. So that's the part that I think is so difficult for those of us who don't watch it the way you do, for our eyes to believe what we're seeing. I've seen these guys set the league on fire. So what's changed?
Well, I think other teams get better too, though, Greeny, and people start to figure you out, and teams get more comfortable with what you're trying to do. I've heard a couple of their offensive linemen through the media talk about the fact, too, that now the fact that they don't have any kind of running game, I've heard them talk about the fact that, look, defensive linemen and defenses are just teeing off on us. They know we're one-dimensional. They know when we come out with 5 wides and Ty Montgomery's in the backfield, we're probably going to throw the football. And these defensive linemen, Golic will tell you, they're like, the heck with playing the run. We're trying to mash that quarterback. Their route concepts are, I don't want to say they're predictable, but they've been in place for a long time without a whole lot of change. And this wide receiver core is not as good as everyone thinks it is. It's just not. And teams have kind of caught up to him. And if Aaron is not being a magician, if every time it's a broken play, he's not back there doing something amazing where one of the announcers is going, man, that Aaron Rodgers is just like one of a kind, once in a lifetime. If he's not playing at that level, this team struggles. And that's where we're at with him.
Yeah, I'm looking up, trying to look up real quick, like in 2014 when they were 12-4, what their rushing attack was. Were they able to run the ball down?
Is that the year Lacey ran the ball real well?
I'm looking. They were 11th in the league in rushing at that point, 119 yards a game. So they ran it certainly better than they're running it now. Lewis, there's part of me too that just says Aaron Rodgers isn't as accurate as he was, because we've seen him throw from the pocket, we've seen him make up plays and throw on the run. We do it a lot, and he just doesn't look as accurate as he's been. Because last year we kept talking about that. Yes, his completion percentage went down to like 60%. He's usually 67, 66, 68. Mm-hmm. But 31 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Name a team that wouldn't take that out of their quarterback. So it's befuddling to me.
Yeah, I think last year one of the biggest things was the fact that his yards per attempt went down, and they weren't producing the big plays, especially without Jordy being there. And Devontae Adams was just too inconsistent. Randall Cobb became the focal point of every defense as far as this is who we need to stop in the passing game. Richard Rodgers is a nice tight end. Richard Rodgers is not your Michael Finley. So they're not the same high-powered passing attack as they used to be. And you're right when you say this. Aaron has not been as sharp consistently as he has been in the past, and his margin for error right now is slim and none if they're going to stay competitive and play with the best teams in the NFL. And if he's not on it, that's what happens.
And I guess it sounds ridiculous, because if you say who's the quarterback of your team? Oh, it's quarterback X. How's he doing this year? Oh, he's completing 63.5% of his passes. He has 20 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. You'd be going, oh, okay, you guys are pretty good at quarterback right now. That's what Aaron Rodgers is now.
Yep.
I mean, it just seems like he's off, but he's always had such a high bar. So if he doesn't get close to that, but I mean, my God, who wouldn't take those?
You saw the last 2 games, though, the games against the Falcons and now against the Colts. Their defense, their secondary, they can't stop anybody. They can't slow down the passing game. They're getting the ball. They're just getting gashed in the passing game. Huge chunk plays time and time again. Matt Ryan did it to him. Andrew Luck did it to him yesterday. So no matter how good Aaron is, I mean, he can't play defense. He can't cover. He can't rush the passer. He can't get Clay Matthews more healthy. So he gets all the attention gets put on him. All the attention gets put on him and his relationship with Mike McCarthy. But this team is systematically kind of falling apart in other areas. And it's just not what we're used to seeing from the Green Bay Packers, because we think that Aaron Rodgers can cure all.
Yep,
and he
exactly
can't.
Right.
He can't.
Here may be the best thing he has going for him right now. Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance, our guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. The best thing that he may have going for him right now is the division, where the Vikings have come crashing back to earth. One thing you know, they're 5-0. Next thing you know, they're 5-3. The offensive coordinator resigns /quit whatever word it is you want to use for what happened with Norv last week, and they look very average, and that's almost being kind.
Yep.
The Lions, who are like the cardiac kids, have trailed in the fourth quarter of every game they've played this year, and they have all these comebacks largely because they play their way into these deficits a lot of times. So nobody's winning 12 games in that division this year, so there is ample time at this point for the Packers to sort of right the ship. So I'm asking you to guess. I know that I'm just asking you to look in a crystal ball. Will they, Mike? Will they right the ship?
Here's normally what I do when there's something like this, when nobody is playing great, it's kind of mediocre ball. I usually go with the best quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's still Aaron Rodgers. So, will they get some of that health back? When does Clay Matthews get back on defense? Can they get any kind of a running game at all? Minnesota, I think, is going to continue to fall. That O-line, I mean, there's just nothing you can do. I mean, there are injuries to where those guys aren't coming coming back on the offensive line, and you're seeing they have no running game. And if the defense, this team to go anywhere, the defense had to be great just about all the time like Denver was last year, and we're finding out they're not doing that on a consistent basis. And Detroit, just stats we're given on their flip of the coin. Could be great, could not be great, could have to come from behind, maybe not. So I'll go with the best quarterback, and that's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you give him the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Also, I think you have to seriously take Detroit for what they are, which is right now, it's not going to always be pretty, and it may come down to, Greeny, as you said, they may be the cardiac kids. They may be one of those teams that every time it comes down to maybe a minute, 30 seconds left on the clock, and Matthew Stafford's going to have to pull it out for him. But look, who cares how you get in there? Just get in there. Systematically, I mean, structurally, the Vikings right now, I don't know how you fix what's wrong with them. Although you saw yesterday, they started making some changes offensively. I probably saw more wide receiver screens yesterday than I saw out of them all year long. Pat Shurmur knows what he has to do. It has to be one of those things. They almost have to play it like the Philadelphia Eagles play.
Yeah, not let Bradford hold the ball.
That's right. It has to be all those West Coast double slant flat combinations, screens, draws, very timely play. Their margin for error on offense is slim and none. And Sam took some shots yesterday where I'm going, it's a matter of time before he gets knocked out. It's a matter of time. And the defense, look, Harrison Smith and Xavier Rhodes, I mean, that play in overtime, they haven't been doing that all year long. Yep. I think they're in real trouble. I think the Vikings are in real trouble, and I hate to say that, but I think they're in trouble.
The play he's referring to is the game that loses the game. The Vikings, the Vikings had been so good defensively all year and so sound, and they both miss a tackle on Golden Tate.
Look at this, he's high load.
They high load. They have two guys there, and then Xavier Rhodes drops his shoulder on a pathetic tackle attempt. Then Harrison Smith has his arms on him and can't pull him down.
Xavier Rhodes is the guy who set the world on fire with his performance against Odell Beckham Jr. too, and that feels like a year ago.
Yeah, it does. But you know what? You see head down, throw your shoulder. That just irks me every time I see it, Lewis.
That play right there, you know what? I don't know Mike Zimmer, and I've never been coached by him or been in a meeting with him, but I can only imagine what that film session is going to be like today. Like, Xavier, seriously, I would just freeze the play right there.
Oh, right there.
It's overtime.
You're not even, I mean, the most, all this talk about tackling and Little League and all that, the most simple line of all time in tackling is see what you hit. And he couldn't have not seen any more what he was hitting, throwing a lame shoulder in there with his head down, and then Harrison's got him in his arms.
Sure.
Got to bring him down.
Yep.
Didn't bring him down.
So a frustrating time clearly for those in Minnesota. We have the winning word of the morning coming up for you in just a moment here on Mike and Mike, and then we'll get to some of the college action of the weekend as well. David Pollack is going to join us. I think there's a real question as to whether it will be Ohio State or Washington that moves into the fourth spot.
Better not be a question.
So you're going to say it should be Washington?
Should be Washington. Absolutely.
Our FPI would suggest that is not as cut and dry as you are saying.
Sure.
So we'll see. We'll talk to David Pollack about it in a moment. I got the winning word in a moment. You guys are going to have some fun with this. So the cardigan.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day.
I used to watch this show.
Not quite getting the tweets you were hoping for.
Everyone on the planet used to watch this show. That's Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Your all-time backfire about to happen.
I am rocking a cardigan this morning, and I don't care what anybody says. It is swaggy.
Whatever.
And so I posted a picture of it on Instagram. That's at ESPN Greeny, and here are some of the responses. You look like the host of a public access TV show about gardening. Mm-hmm. Greeny, someone posted art teacher swag. Greeny, the poor man's Ward Cleaver. Greeny, let us know about how you used to walk both ways to work every day. But then there are some who are like it. Greeny, that's a pretty awesome cardigan. Haters are going to hate. You're rocking like a... Oh, that's a different one. A more seasoned Zac Efron. Please put some rocks in the pocket of that. Oh, that's a different one. I usually side with Golic, but I think you're pulling it off. Was he singing Won't You Be My Neighbor as he walked into the studio? So I have a little bit of support on my side. But as my friend Dominique Foxworth said, you must feel good about what you are wearing, and I feel good about it. So go ahead. I will take the slings and arrows in any way you want to send.
That's fine, because you're going to get them. At least you know what? I'm glad you feel good about it because, as I said, you're the only one.
Hey, if you feel like you look good, you feel good, you're going to work good.
You go
kind
ahead.
Of like,
you
hey,
go feel
do
that.
Your thing.
You don't, but that's okay as long as you feel like you do.
You know, Green, I think I'm going to try and get. I'm going to get one of those.
I'm going to work with you on this. I'm going to get Lewis. I got a guy.
Happens.
I got a cardigan guy. I got a guy.
Kind of like Charles Woodson has an ascot guy.
He's got an ascot guy.
Yeah.
I got a cardigan guy.
All right.
In fact, we can try and merge those looks.
Can I just say,
cardigans and ascots?
I don't want to wear one, so don't get one for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Meanwhile, let's move on. We would like to bring you with us to the College Football National Championship game. With our everlasting thanks to our friends at AutoZone, we are going to give you the word of the day right now. We're going to give you the 2 ways to enter, and you could win a magnificent trip with us. You and a guest to the College Football National Championship game, all expenses paid, top-of-the-line accommodations. We'll have a dinner the night before. We'll sit with us at the game. It's going to be a great experience. And all you need to do is know that today's word is petty. I mean that literally, not figuratively. I don't mean that the word is it was a petty choice, and it is literally petty, i.e. Bryce Petty.
Or i.e. Greeny is petty.
Either one.
Richard Petty.
Richard Petty, whoever it is you want to go with, whoever the quarterback of the Jets should be next week. Petty. Tom Petty. Kyle Petty, Richard Petty, anything you want. Manny Petty.
Good.
Not Manny Petty.
No, yeah.
Misspelled.
Yeah. You may have just blown it right there.
Don't do that.
Petty. One way or another, that's the word of the morning. You must spell it that way, and you must enter it both of these 2 ways.
Way to almost blow it, Mr. Rogers. 2 ways you enter petty. You text it to 777-000. You enter it online at mikesroadtothecfp.com. Gang, I can't stress enough, these are the only 2 ways that you can enter if you want to come with us to Tampa Bay for the national title game. The word is petty. Text it to 777-000 or enter it online at mikesroadtothecfp.com. Good luck. We can't wait to travel with everybody to Tampa Bay and to the title game.
That's exactly right. Now the question then becomes, which 2 teams will we be watching when we get there? Let's face it, we all know Alabama's going to be one of them. So the question is, who are they going to play? Who will be the top 4 in tomorrow night's rankings? David Pollack will answer that question right after this word from Tommy John. Listen, when things sound too good to be true, they usually are. But when Tommy John says their underwear never rides up, that, my friends, is an absolute fact.
Yep, Tommy John, state-of-the-art men's underwear brand that's redefined comfort for guys everywhere. Every pair of Tommy John crafted from feather-light, breathable fabrics that move with you, not against you, providing the perfect balance of support and incredible comfort. Tommy John even pioneered the time-saving horizontal quick-draw fly. Talk about a game changer there. They really thought of everything to help guys feel more comfortable. And as always, their underwear is backed by the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Experience comfort you never knew existed at TommyJohn.com. Do that now. Use promotional code Mike and receive 20% off your first order. That's promo code Mike, 20% off, TommyJohn.com. That's TommyJohn.com. Back after this, Mike and Mike.
Takes the snap. They give it to Murray off the left side. This time he dives in. Marcus Allen style. Touchdown! Raiders! Murray with the hat trick. His 3rd touchdown of the night.
Felt like a statement win for the Raiders last night. 95-7 the game for the play-by-play. Murray scored 3 times. Raiders beat the Broncos 30-20. They're 7-2 going into their bye. Bills and Seahawks play a good one on Monday Night Football tonight. Important game for both teams. It's 8:30 Eastern on ESPN and watch ESPN. And then, of course, Alabama #1 in the AP poll. The top 6 teams didn't change. We'll get the college football playoff rankings tomorrow night exclusively on ESPN. And we'll get the thoughts of David Pollack right here on Mike and Mike after this word from SportsCenter. It's brought to you by AutoZone.
Yep, we're giving you a chance to be on the road with us to the national championship game. Just be listening every weekday for your chance to win the Mike and Mike on the road to the college football playoff sweepstakes presented by AutoZone. Visit mikesroadtothecfp.com for all the official rules.
So as we prepare to bring David Pollack into the conversation, Louis Riddick, you were just saying during the break, LSU-Alabama this weekend is a game that if it were played in the NFL, people would be talking about how the league is so boring. And yet I thought that was a scintillating college football game from the opening kick.
Yeah, you know what? And I think that's because obviously fantasy football is such a huge component of the NFL attraction that people can play that. And so they want to see scoring. They want to see touchdowns. They want to see long passes and all that. But look, football really, I guess it's in the beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. That Alabama game, LSU game, That's as good as it gets for me. I'm on a plane trying to get up here, and I'm sitting there, trying to watch my phone on the plane. I'm getting yelled at about turning my phone off and stuff. I'm going, do you understand what's happening right here? Do you understand what's being done, the kind of work Bama's putting in here? And the airline flight attendant's looking at me like, I really don't care.
And I'm with you. I mean, it is the eye of the beholder. Do you like that high-scoring game? Or I love this. Who's gonna get that play? Is Fournette going to bust one off? Is Hurts going to? And he ends up doing with the 21-yard touchdown. Or when is that play going to happen? There's going to be a big turnover on defense. I loved that game.
I'll say this about Alabama. And I'll say this about that coach, and I've said it numerous times. What you're witnessing there with that program is unprecedented. It's how good they are. I mean, it's ridiculous how fundamentally on the defensive side of the football, just how good they are. And remember this name. No one's saying this name. Jeremy Pruitt, the defensive coordinator down there. Nobody down there is really remembering Kirby Smart right now. And Kirby Smart was one of the best coaches in college football. Jeremy Pruitt. Don't forget that name.
We got David Pollack ready to go from College Game Day and so much more. David, you hear the conversation here. Your thoughts first and foremost. We'll work our way down to some of the rankings here. But your thoughts on LSU, Alabama this weekend?
Well, I love it. I love what you're talking about, too, because I'm also a defensive guy. So I think me and Golic can appreciate that, obviously, a lot more than most people. But, what he just said about Jeremy Pruitt is something to be on notice about, too, Lewis, because I think everybody thought when Kirby left that they might lose something. Well, I think the defense is different. I think it's more predictable. I think they do less and they're confused less. I think Alabama plays faster because of it, and I think their defense it's better than it was a year ago. It's better than it was 4 years ago. They got more versatile parts and they're using them. So I had a blast, standing on the sidelines, and you just look at those guys and the way they fill out their uniforms, the way they move, the way holes open up and close as quick as they did, and it was one of the treats. And it goes back to that 9-6 game a couple years ago when you just got NFL players all over the field, and I enjoyed it.
I've got two quick stats for you on that game. First off, Lewis, you mentioned Nick Saban. It was his 200th win as a college coach. He's the third fastest in major college history to get to that number behind Joe Paterno and Tom Osborne. And then, Mike, we talk about that Alabama defense. Leonard Fournette was held to 35 yards rushing, his lowest total since he was held to 31 yards
last year
against Alabama last year. He has averaged 4 fewer yards per rush against Alabama than against any other team in his career.
They're so fundamentally sound on that side of the ball. It is ridiculous. So, David, as we get ready for another ranking out there, you get Bama just wins 10-0. Clemson blows out Syracuse. Michigan, they blow out, Maryland?
They killed Maryland.
Yeah.
Whoever they played, they killed them.
And Washington blows out Cal. And then Ohio State has probably the best win because they blow out number 10 Nebraska. Do you think, and not that it matters if Washington wins out, they're going to be in. Do you think Ohio State jumps Washington in this next vote?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I think the committee, again, that's a top 10 win. I don't think anybody really thought Nebraska was a top 10 team. I think they're a good team. I don't know they're a top 10 team. But they were in the top 10, and with Ohio State notching that victory, again, Oklahoma they still have on their resume. They still have other good wins on their resume. So I think there's a chance you'll see Ohio State at 4, and I think you'll see Washington at 5, and everybody gets to be upset and be mad. But it really, again, it's not going to matter. Washington still has to continue to do what they're going to do. If I had a guess, last week I thought Washington would be at 5. This week, I think because of the knee-jerk reaction, I think Washington will be at 4, but nobody's going to be surprised if Ohio State is.
As you point out, the two, if they are 5, 2 teams that are ahead of them will play each other as it continues. So you're right, they would be fine. For what it's worth, our FPI, our Football Power Index, says according to strength of record, it is about as hard to go 9-0 against Washington's schedule as it is to go 8-1 against Ohio State's schedule. The Buckeyes also rank higher in FPI, which is a forward-looking measure of team strength, so there is a debate there at number 4. Let me throw one other Big Ten team into this conversation for you, if I may, David Pollack, and get your thoughts. I was there this weekend at Northwestern, and I watched Wisconsin play. Wisconsin has an overtime loss to Ohio State. They have a 7-point loss to Michigan. Right now they have the inside track to get to the Big Ten championship game. If they get there and win, they would, by definition, be avenging one of those 2 losses. So they would be a 2-loss team with 2 extremely impressive losses. Do you see any path for them to get into the Final Four?
Yes, I think under that scenario, you could. I think there's two loss teams that have a good chance of making the college football playoff. I think it's them, and I think it's Auburn. Now, the thing about Wisconsin is I think Northwestern's a pretty good team. I think Clayton Thorson, if you watch him, is really impressive. Makes great throws all over the field. Justin Jackson, I know Greeny, I think you were there, weren't you?
I was, and they shut him down like no one has shut him down all year.
They did. They shut him down, and they continue to be banged up. I mean, losing their nose guard. They've lost two backers. T.J. Watt was banged up, but makes a tremendous fourth down stop in that game early on that really set the tone. He might have scored on Justin Jackson might have scored on that play. So I think Wisconsin 100% can be in the mix. I don't think they can do it because I don't think they have the offensive firepower. That's what you watch them. They're still doing the quarterback thing where they're rotating and trying to find a spark, but either way, I don't think they throw the ball enough. I don't think they're explosive enough to run the table and to beat an Ohio State and to beat a Michigan in the championship game. But I do think they can make life heck on people with that defensive front seven.
I think so many people would love to see Louisville make it in because of the explosive play of Lamar Jackson, 7 touchdowns he was responsible for in that Boston College game, 45 now in the year, just ridiculous. He's like pinball numbers, so people want to see him in there. How difficult, though? They really have a bit of a road to get in there, don't they?
They do, Mike, but here's the deal. I can promise you one thing. As much as me and Lewis just loved on LSU and that Alabama game, if Lamar Jackson was playing quarterback for LSU, he would have had plenty of success, and he would have success against Alabama. If you're talking about a number 4 seed, Louisville versus Alabama, that would be one of the most fun matchups I think you could ever predict. I don't think Washington would have a chance against Alabama. I don't think it would be a great game. Louisville, I think, could give Nick Saban and Alabama all they could handle because they do play physical defense. They do have a lot of variety in their defense. They do blitz. They're aggressive. They can make plays against that offense, but they also, more importantly, have the biggest playmaker in college football Nick Saban would be pulling his hair out trying to find ways to continually defend that cat. So we can talk all we want about Louisville, and we can talk about their schedule and what they are. To me, they're in the top 4, right? I mean, if you're going to go best teams, they lost to Clemson, I know, but if you're going to go best teams, I think Louisville's in the top 4.
You know, David, you make an interesting point right there when you're talking about Lamar Jackson and that kind of player being the kind of player that Nick wants to see the least, the kind of guy that can just get out in space and really challenge his football team and not allow his football team to play in a phone booth where they absolutely will just knock you out anyway. Who else in this top 4, top 5, out of Clemson, out of Michigan, who else do you think would really present a great football game for Alabama? Because we all talk about Bama like they're unbeatable, but is it Clemson? Is it Michigan? Michigan's probably the team that's the most intriguing to me because I haven't been able to see them enough from start to finish to really get a beat on how good this football team is. Would they provide the kind of challenge to Alabama that some of these other teams, a team like Louisville, although they don't have a Lamar Jackson type of quarterback on that team, do they have enough to really challenge a team like Alabama?
I don't think, Lewis, when we watch Bama and we watch the Kryptonite, and we've seen over the past several years that guys that beat him are guys that can do something with their legs. Wilton Spates can't do anything with his legs. He's not immobile in the pocket, but he's a more pro-style quarterback. I don't think they have dynamic running backs or dynamic receivers that really threaten you. So I know Alabama can play man coverage. Clemson, you got dynamic receivers. You got a dynamic quarterback. You got experience against this team already. So I think I put Clemson and Louisville in those categories that really could challenge Alabama, that could beat Alabama. Listen, LSU's got, they got freaks all over the field, and they got speed all over the field, and you saw they were able to do some damage. But also that atmosphere is worth 7 points. That atmosphere is worth 10 points to be that crazy and to confuse and to give you adrenaline and momentum. So, now you look at the schedule and you got Auburn at home. I think they could challenge, Alabama as well. But Sean White's not completely healthy right now. He's not a dynamic runner either. He can do enough to keep you off balance, but I think Auburn's a team that aren't going to be afraid of them, that could scare them, and then Clemson and Louisville are teams I think they could scare them as well.
David Pollack, by the way, College Football Live today, 1:30 Eastern on ESPN2. And then, of course, tomorrow night we will unveil the rankings for the second time this season. It'll be interesting to see if it's Ohio State or Washington in at number 4. Thank you, David. See you soon.
No problem. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks,
David Pollock on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today.
I'm going to tell you one thing that I think people are sleeping on Washington.
Yep.
I know they're going to talk about the Pac-12 schedule. I get it. I like the O-line. I like the front four. It's a team that has 27 sacks already. It's you when you look at a team that talk about beating Bama, you do look at that kind of that quarterback that can move, like a Lamar Jackson, like Deshaun Watson did last year against them. But I'm going to tell you, Jake Browning can stand in the pocket and hum it. Now, they run more than they throw. They run about 60% of the time. This guy's 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He doesn't get hit a ton. I like their front four. I think they have some really good wide receivers. So I know David said he doesn't think they would do anything to Alabama. I say watch out. It's not the type of team, that spread offense type quarterback that usually beats an Alabama team, but I like the way this kid throws the ball a lot. So this is a team I really am keeping my eye on.
I'm going to make a case for a team that people aren't talking about coming up next after a word from ZipRecruiter. Okay, are you hiring? And if so, do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? To find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites, and now you can.
With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post 100-plus job sites and social networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. You find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Find out why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 1 million businesses. And right now, listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Mike. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Mike. Again, you can post on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/Mike. Back after this, Mike and Mike.
Dave and Buster's, the best sports.
Mike and Mike in our Sports Center, brought to you by AutoZone. We're giving you a chance to be on the road with us to the national championship game. Just listen every weekday for your chance to win. The Mike and Mike on the road to the college football playoff sweepstakes is presented by AutoZone. Visit mikesroadtothecfp.com for official rules. We, of course, don't know yet which two teams we might see there. To bolster Golic's thought on Washington, they're the only Power 5 team to score at least 30 points in every game this season. So Golic likes Washington. I like Wisconsin.
I don't like Washington. I'm not saying to win the whole thing, but I want to give them more credit than I think some people are. And I know they figure it was a weak schedule up to this point. It's going to be tougher going forward. I like let me put it this way. I like the way they play. I think they're very good in the areas you need to be to end up where they're going to be.
Here's what I would say, again, to make my case for Wisconsin. Now, I know everyone will accuse me of being a Big Ten homer, and I am. I root for the Big Ten. I went to school in the Big Ten. I like the Big Ten. But if you look at Wisconsin and what they've done, they've played 9 games. They've allowed 11 touchdowns. They lost by 7 to Michigan. They lost by 7 in overtime, which both Mike and I think is a phony baloney way of deciding a game anyway in college, to Ohio State. They would have to beat one of those two teams by definition to win the Big Ten championship game, which would mean a win right at the end against a team that's going to be like 2 or 3 in the country at that point. So I get it. They have 2 losses. They will have avenged one of them. I think if they win out, I think you could make a fairly compelling case for Wisconsin. I really do.
Well, you can, but it's going to depend on the other teams. You're going to have a couple undefeateds probably. I doubt we're going to have 4 undefeateds right now. That's what we could have.
So you think,
right?
so realistically, you think, is Alabama going to be unbeaten?
I think that Alabama-Auburn game, is setting up. But I think Alabama will be unbeaten. I think Clemson will be unbeaten. Yes,
Washington.
I think those two. I think Washington getting 1 loss could put them in a precarious position, quite honestly, depending on others. But
let's say Washington goes unbeaten.
So you're saying
4th spot goes to the Big Ten champ.
Right.
What if that champ is Wisconsin?
So would you say a 2-loss? Well, would it still not go to the Pac-12 champ? We got to.
Washington is in. I've given you Washington. Right. They're in.
So
put
now,
them in with a
So now
unbeaten.
You're talking about a 2-loss over like a 1-loss. It would be probably Louisville would be the team we're talking about here. Would you go 2-loss? The thing in their favor would be their last win would be over probably the number 3 team in the country, 2 or 3 in either Michigan and Ohio State. I grant you that. And Louisville does not have another big game because Houston is kind of fallen some. So Louisville won't have another game and will be sitting on championship.
It would be taking
weekend.
Another team out of the ACC over a conference champ.
Yeah. What's interesting about Louisville is we're just talking about, thinking back to what David just said, and I agree with him. I'm going to spin it all the way forward to the championship game. And if we're going to sit here and assume, we already have assumed that Alabama's going to be there. You know what? Ultimately, I just want to see how do we arrive at getting the best team that could give Alabama the best run for its money, so we just don't already just go ahead and give Bama the championship. Who is the best team right now that could give them the best run for their money and really would provide the fans with the best national championship?
My opinion?
Well, I mean, listen.
That's all I'm saying. Well, listening to you guys talk, I mean, Louisville seems like they have a problem getting in here.
They're not going to get in, though.
The way they play, you look at what Clemson did in Deshaun Watson, making it a 45-40
last
game.
year.
So if you can get Louisville in there, you're right. But the difference is the Louisville defense is good. That Clemson defense last year was excellent defense.
I'll give you another team. I think Ohio State, if you look the way their quarterback plays, try and get that guy off the field on third down.
No, I'm with you. Listen, it was a bit of a surprising loss, though Penn State is absolutely coming along. And, man, they just put it on Nebraska, who a lot of people don't think they were a top 10 team anyway. But still, they were listed there, and Ohio State just smoked.
We have much more time to talk about this. Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance. In November, Progressive will give away over 100 vehicles to veterans in need as part of its Keys to Progress program, giving thanks for the freedom they've given us. To learn more, go to progressive.com/keys to progress. I have 1 minute left with Louis Riddick. So, Louis, I'll give you the whole floor. Anything in the NFL you wanted to finish your thoughts on today, what would it be?
I'm going to say this. At a time right now where the NFL is taking some shots, and we kind of give it to them when they deserve it, as far as the quality of the game, ratings, kind of in the toilet right now, so to speak, because people don't like the level of play and all. I think, some people really agree with this kind of notion. Some people kind of think it's just hogwash, but I'll just put it this way. For the Raiders and the Cowboys to right now be on the upswing with young quarterbacks, young football teams, dynamic offenses, very rabid fan bases, I think those teams have kind of hit their stride right at the right time. And those two teams in particular, one in the NFC, one in the AFC, give people a lot of reason to be excited about the second half of this season, because I think you're seeing some of the old stalwarts in the NFL maybe rise up again, and that's probably exactly what this team needs. For as much as I respect Bill and I respect the Patriots, look, they have reigned supreme over this league for so long. It's time for the silver and black, and it's time for the star to actually for those organizations to be stars and those organizations to be prominent. I think they're hitting their stride right at the time where the NFL needs it.
I agree, and I have some stats about scoring, how it's flip-flop from last year to this year. And also for this weekend, guys, there were 8 one-score games. 8 where the difference was 1 score. So I don't know. I thought the game were pretty good this week.
Louis Riddick, it's always phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Love it.
Donovan McNabb in our next hour. Stick around. Mike and Mike.
Now with your American Express card, it's 2 times as splendid to shop small at local stores, because today is 2-day, and you could earn 2 times your rewards. So now those Main Street beats and corner treats are 2 times as cool and 2 times as sweet. One-of-a-kind finds have 2 times the surprise, and hidden spots are 2 times the tops. There's always a special feeling when you shop small in your neighborhood. And now that it's 2-day, it feels 2 times as good.
Now through December 31st, you could earn 2 times your rewards when you shop small with an enrolled American Express card. Learn more and enroll at AmericanExpress.com. You will not earn 2 times rewards on any bonus you may already enjoy with your card. Prepaid and corporate cards, cards issued by other financial institutions, the Plum Card, and certain other cards are not eligible. Reward cap and other terms apply.
Learn more and enroll online today at AmericanExpress.com. Get out, get together, and shop small.
Hey everybody, Scott Burnside, ESPN.com here on the latest edition of Hockey Today, the podcast. We hear from New Jersey Devils Captain Andy Green talking about the Devils' surprising start, and Milan Lucic of the Edmonton Oilers joins